Welcome back to another adventure in fractions. Now we're going to be focusing in on dividing fractions. So we're going to be taking everything that we've learned thus far in multiplication of fractions, and we're going to be implementing it into division of fractions. So pay attention closely, because it's going to be kind of similar to how we do addition and subtraction of fractions, where we're going to find common denominators, just like adding and subtracting. The only one we don't find common denominators is when we multiply. So it should be easy to remember and recall from addition and subtraction and division. They're all with common denominators now, and multiplication is the only one. You just multiply straight across. You don't have to worry about common denominators. So whenever you see notes, you need to make sure that you write it into your notebooks whenever you see that sign there, notes. Write down this title, How to Divide Fractions Using Common Denominators. First step, we're to find a common denominator, okay? And utilizing our understanding of finding common denominators, in this case, 4/5 divided by 2/3, we know that 5 and 3 share the least common denominator of 15. So that means I would have had to multiply 4/5 times 3/3, and 2/3 by 5/5. And I got my common denominators of 15, and so I rewrite that 12/15 divided by 10/15. So that's the first step. Step 2. Now you're going to divide the numerators. Now, as you see here, it's 12 divided by 10, and it looks like whole numbers, but in reality, I took my numerator of 12 here, and I divided it by the numerator of 10 here, and there's a reason for that. Because once we get common denominators, now that they're the same size, we can just divide straight across, just like in multiplication. Except now we're dividing straight across. So in this case, it would be 12 divided by 10 and 15 divided by 15. And whenever you divide a number by itself, 15 divided by 15, you're going to get 1. So in this case, it would look like this, 12 divided by 10 over 1. And so in essence, it would be this division problem answer divided by 1, and that's not going to change its answer because anything divided by 1 is the same. So we don't have to include that. They kind of cancel each other out. So 12 divided by 10 is what we can write, just dividing the numerators. And then any division problem is a fraction, and so you just write your division problem as a fraction. 12 divided by 10 would be written as 12/10. And so that is your answer. Except now you can for the third step, simplify, which means you can change your improper fraction to a mixed number. And 12/10 is the same thing as 1 whole and 2/10, because 10 goes into 12 one whole time, with a leftover of 2 out of 10 pieces. So 1 and 2/10, or fully simplified, is 1 1/5. So this is how you divide fractions. It's very similar to addition and subtraction of fractions with the common denominators, but you're also utilizing your understanding of multiplication of fractions, because you have to divide straight across, okay? So those are the steps. Make sure you have them down. Now I'm going to show you a practice one. So you're going to write this down, and you're going to practice along with me. So follow along with me when I'm dividing a fraction by another fraction. So 3/5 divided by 2/3. If I have this, I'm going to find a common denominator. My common denominator is going to be 15. So I'm going to be multiplying 3/5 by 3/3 and 2/3 by 5/5. Now I rewrite my problem with my common denominator. So now I've got 9/15 divided by 10/15. Once I've done that, now I'm just dividing the numerators. However, I am also dividing the denominators, but it's going to make 1, so I don't need that. They kind of cancel each other out. So 9 divided by 10 over 1, which, dividing anything by 1, you're going to get the same answer. So you really don't need that. They kind of cancel each other out. So in essence, you could just do this. 15 divided by 15, they cancel each other out, and so it's just 9 divided by 10. And so now you rewrite 9 divided by 10 as your fraction. It is your answer. So you write 9 divided by 10 as a fraction, which is 9/10. And 9/10 is the answer to 3/5 divided by 2/3. Kind of does the work for you as you get to the end. You don't even actually have to go through the divisional process. Second, okay, now you write down this problem, and I want you to follow along with me as well as we do this problem together. So we've got a whole divided by a fraction this time. So this time we've got to do one extra step. And that one extra step is very similar to multiplication of fractions. We have to change that whole number into a fraction now. So you need to take 7 and put it over 1. So now 7 wholes becomes 7 over 1, which is the same thing as 7 wholes, but now we're just representing it as a fraction. So 7 over 1 divided by 2/3. Now we have to change 7 over 1 into with a common denominator or with 2/3. Well, that's easy. This has a 1. This has thirds. So my common denominator is going to be thirds. So I need to multiply 7 over 1 by 3 over 3. And then I rewrite that problem with those common denominators. So it becomes 21/3 divided by 2/3. Okay? Now the next step I follow here is I just divide straight across because I've got my common denominators now. So now I'm going to divide my numerator by my other numerator. So 21 divided by 2. And then the 3 divided by 3 makes 1. So that's going to be on the bottom. So 21 divided by 2 over 1. Now anything divided by 1, remember, is going to be the same. So we don't have to worry about that. So in essence, I'm just focusing in on my 21 divided by 2. And I write it as a fraction. 21/2. Now, that is your answer. However, you can now take that and change it into a mixed number. And so 21 over 2 can be rewritten because 2 goes into 21 10 times, because 10 times 2 is 20. And the leftover is 1. So that's 1, and my denominator stays the same. So 10.5 is my answer. So 7 divided by 2/3 is 10.5. Okay? This is all finding answers to these division problems with common denominators. All right, last, you now have to do this on your own. So you do these 3 problems, which is a fraction divided by a whole divided by a fraction, and a fraction divided by a fraction. You need to do them on a separate sheet of paper with your name on it to hand in to me or Mrs. Grossman in the morning. Happy dividing!